Sagoli Swagwegu. Welcome everyone. We're going to have a discussion today for the 2020 Ryerson Youth Powwow. And we're going to be talking about healing through art during a pandemic, art journaling, and how that supports us during these tough times. And here I'm joined with Dash. And Dash is a brother, a friend of mine. We're both artists, art makers, whatever that means. And then, after this video, or after this introduction, you'll be able to see my YouTube video where I talk about art journaling. So we're gonna introduce ourselves. I'll go first. My name is Monique Ora. I'm Oneida Nation of the Thames and French, and I grew up on Anishinaabe land, just outside of Aamjiwnaaq First Nation, and I have family ties there as well. I am an art maker, muralist. I don't know. I love all kinds of things. Beadwork. What else do I do? Mixed media journaling. Live. I'm human. I breathe. Yeah. And mental health is really, really important to me. Mental wellness. Just talking about how we can support ourselves and each other. So, yeah.
How are you guys doing? My name is Deshaun White. I go by Dash. That's my artist name. You want to check my Instagram out? It's ERUESUDI, Utsuri. And I am an Indigenous artist. I am Anishinaabe, Irish, and Jamaican. I come from Scarborough, more specifically around the Kingston and Galloway area. I do a lot of mixed media art and more medium stuff. I like to call it like real life Photoshop because I'm not so good with computers and stuff. But I don't know, I've been doing art ever since I was a little kid, and I just continue to do it to this day because I feel like looking at things that are blank are kind of boring. And you kind of just have to get it out of you. And kind of touching on what Ora said, like the mental health part, like I feel like doing art every day at the age I am is kind of like, it's not a little kid thing anymore. It's now more of a release and a feeling. And it's kind of just like I have to do it regardless if I'm getting paid or not, because it feels good to get
your
it
body
out
like needs to needs to do that. Yeah. Totally.
So yeah, that's kind of what I like to do, and I could tell you a little more about my practice later on, but yeah.
So what brought me to art journaling is my own art therapy process. I went to art therapy school, and we did 3 hours of our own art therapy every week, and that was really transformative for me because I was able to see how art is so impactful for me. And I've been doing this kind of stuff since I was a kid because I had a lot of trauma when I was a kid. So for me to have art as a way to express myself was really healing and important. And so I just kept doing it. I kept doing my art journaling ever since.
Like how my art practice has been affected during the pandemic, I'd have to say it's been really slow. It's been hard. It feels a lot more like work than fun some days.
Yeah.
So a lot of those days, like, it's just like what everyone kind of says. It's like you can give an artist a canvas, but it doesn't mean they're gonna paint it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, or whatever. At the end of the day, art, at least the art I like to do and maybe you, it comes from a place within, and it isn't always good.
Yeah.
And it's hard too when, like, during this pandemic, being an entrepreneur or vouching for yourself or whatever you want to call it, just trying to support yourself with your practice. It's hard when it feels like work every single day, when it's stressful. And it's okay, like, during other circumstances where some of it's bad and you're doing lots of it, but it's hard when it feels like everything's on the line during this crazy time, because it's like, this is all you know how to do.
I feel like, for me, my practice has shifted. Like, I'm slowed down. I'm making more art for myself, even if it's shitty art or not the nicest art to me. Like, and I'm also not sharing it as much.
Yeah.
I'm creating for me and sharing it with, like, people that are close to me. and I think that feels good and safe. But right now, like my art, I'm not like trying to be productive. Like that's kind of like out of my system right now. I just want to make when I feel it, and um, I think having my art practice for myself during this weird time has been really important because I'm expressing myself in different ways than I was before. Before I was kind of like expressing myself in a way that other people maybe expected of me or like wanted me to. Whereas now it's like I'm just gonna create based on where I'm at, and if that's a shitty place, then that's what it's gonna be, and I just like embrace that and sit with it and like not put so much pressure on myself for it to be perfect, and um, because that's a direct result. Like perfectionism is a direct result of like productivity, white supremacy, all of that stuff, right? And I don't want any of that.
Yeah.
I just want to like make art from my heart and from my spirit, and just like I think that's what I'm remembering through this time is that. I think the first step for art journaling for yourself is to get a journal like this. You can get any size. Like this is just my favorite size because it's small, fits in my hands, and then also it fits in my bag, so I can bring it everywhere with me. And
Would you
then
say it matters what kind of journal?
no, I don't think so. I think it depends on like what you prefer. I like pages that can handle wet media and dry media, so that's why I like this kind of book. This is like a Canson mixed media book, so the pages are a little bit thicker.
So there's books for every price range.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't gotta stress on materials.
Yeah.
You can get them at the dollar store, or
Yeah.
art stores, whatever you want.
Exactly, and even like a lined notebook that you have at home, you can use like any kind of book. You can even just use plain paper and then like paste it in a book later. That sometimes I do that. Like I work on pieces outside and then paste them in. So like magazines, scissors, just stuff that you have at home too. Like even pens, glue, like really simple supplies. You could also just start with a pen and your book. Really, really simple. And yeah, and then just yourself and your feelings and your thoughts and everything that you want to put into it. That's all you need.
Say some ways you could start making and being creative if you've never done this before is watch a lot of videos.
Yeah.
We're lucky that we live in a time where everything's at the click.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
And a lot of people will hate on that, older generations, because they say, "Oh, you're lucky, like you have all this, so use it." You know what I mean? You do that, listen to music, go outside,
Yeah.
be inspired by your environment, change up your scenery, hang out with other people.
Yeah.
I don't know what you
Yeah.
think.
What he said.
Yeah.
I think like connect with people too. Like I find what helps me is if I create something and I'm not sure about it, or like maybe I need some like support, I'll reach out to people who I trust and who I'm comfortable with, and just say, hey, I made this, and this is what it's about, or maybe I don't know what it's about yet, and I'll just share it with them and get their feedback. And it's kind of, it makes me feel good when I'm able to share my work with my close friends and family and kin, and then it connects with them. I think that your loved ones will be honest with you too, and about how they see what you're creating, and that kind of motivates me to continue to create when you're able to share it with some folks in your life. And sometimes I don't share it, and I think that's also important, is to know that you don't have to share everything that you make. And there's always this pressure of like every time you make something you have to put it out in the world, and it's not always like that. And I think don't feel like it has to be perfect, or don't feel like it has to be a certain way, or and trust yourself, like whatever you're creating, and not just limited to like art making, but like could be dance, whatever your creative outlet is, trust yourself. If you know you need to do that for yourself, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, because you need to get that out, and that's what's important. So, and if you're scared, that's okay too, because I remember when I first started like expressing myself in art and stuff like that, I was really scared to like put my vulnerability out there and like have it criticized, right? And
For sure.
so I think, you know, that fear is very valid, but also it's okay to
People are going through it.
yeah, we're all kind of like experiencing stuff right now, and it, like, when I share work with you, I feel like you're like, oh yeah, like you get it, and then it's like I feel heard, you know, and it's like that kind of rest, like continuing that circle of like support for one another.
Putting things onto a surface with like how you're feeling that day is kind of check in how you're feeling. I know it's really hard to check in with yourself when you're by yourself, like it feels weird.
And sometimes you don't know,
Yeah.
right? You're like, you check in and you're like, oh, I don't really know how I'm feeling, so it's hard to like.
And there's no one really to bounce it off.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where like the wall comes to things. You could literally with a journal.
Yeah.
You could bounce it off there, bounce it off the wall, like literally, figuratively or literally.
Yeah.
Like you just ball of paint throughout the wall. But
that sounds fun.
I don't know. Like I guess to start off, like it's just like say I'm feeling happy. You know, like listen to some music.
Yeah.
For me, it always kind of goes back to
Music. Yeah.
because that's just like it gets me going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what sets the mood for me, especially when I'm in my room, because it's like when most people are doing art, they're not really sitting there like that unless you got a hyper focus, like at least for me.
Yeah.
But I like to put on some music and then I'll just paint like whatever's kind of been on my mind. Be honest, get it out.
Yeah.
Because it's some people will punch holes in their walls.
Yeah.
And all you end up with is broken knuckles or people mad at you, you know what I mean? And it's a lot easier to paint over something than to hurt yourself or someone.
Yeah, that's exactly how I do it too, is like checking in. Sometimes I like, if there's something that's been really on my mind, like I feel like all the harm that's being done to like the land and like our bodies is always on my mind. So I feel like that comes out a lot in here, like the idea of land, like the world being on fire, like the water being poisoned, like all of this stuff, right? Like that, even stuff like that, like these injustices that are like fiery inside of you that you need to get out.
It's like a buildup.
Yeah, and like to release them in an image that helps me too. And like I think sometimes it's hard to know what you're thinking and feeling, and that's okay. You don't have to do anything about it. You can just be with it, you know?
I think also to add to that too, is like these journals or these mediums where you draw on your walls, it's like your voice that that gets scooped under the rug, because like as a youth or anyone that feels like you don't have a say in things, it's just a buildup of aggression. It's like that teenage angst that you hear in music. That people are always like, oh, why are you listening to that? It's like, you don't get it though.
Yeah.
It's like I have all this building up in me, and it's like this is my only release, or this is my only release. So it's like that's why it may look the way it looks, like where it comes off as scribbles or maybe amazing stuff, but you don't understand the picture.
Yeah.
It's just this is your way of having your voice heard, even if no one sees it.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna scream regardless.
Yep.
So it's like kind of getting it out in a positive way, even if it doesn't feel positive.
If you want to start with collage, you can start by just having a magazine. You can usually get them, like, oftentimes you can get them like for free. You can just like pick them up at your doctor's office or like wherever. Like you can just say, hey, if they're like out of date and stuff, you can also like ask them. Also, you can ask for people to just like donate them. I had a bunch of people donate some because I used to have like only National Geographics, and they're very like, I don't know how to say that word, anthropological. Yeah, anthropological. And it's a weird perspective because it's very like outside, like othering. And so when I was doing like when I was doing my collage, I was starting with those because those were the only magazines that I had.
Yeah.
And then I was like, this feels so weird. Like, I don't like these images, and like it doesn't feel right. So I started asking people to donate magazines, and I had somebody donate a bunch of Spirit magazines, which is like old, like Indigenous magazines, and it's like. So I started using those, and when I brought them to workshops, people would be like, hey, that's my uncle, or like, hey, that's my cousin. And they started to be able to see themselves represented in the magazines, and I thought that was important. And so any kind of magazines that you have, you can cut up words, images, colors, like even, let me see if I can find one here. There's a piece here where I literally just ripped up different colors of blue and collaged them together. So like this. So like this is just different colors of blues ripped up. Like you can use any parts of the magazines. You need glue, scissors, and I think the first step is to pick all the images that you're drawn to, because oftentimes images that you're drawn to are for a reason, because you're able to then create the image that you want. So I'll go through a few magazines, pick out the images that I'm like attracted to or curious about, and then I'll cut up the pieces that I want, and then start moving them around on the page just to see how they fit or how they flow or how they're kind of like having a conversation with each other. And then I'll start to glue down, and then I'll go in with like my ink or my pens and start drawing and adding textures and colors and stuff like that. And it's a very like internal, like intuitive process. Like I just let my body do what it needs to do, and I just trust it, and then it usually comes out pretty cool, and if it doesn't, then that's okay too.
Ways people could start with getting their emotions onto a surface other than paper.
Just do it. No, I'm just kidding.
Just do it. Or one, what's your surface?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like what's around you? Think about the materials that are around you. So if all you have is markers and 4 walls, you got 4 surfaces to work on, and you got markers. So maybe like if you're not the best at drawing, something you could do is look for forms that are already on the wall. Like say for example the light socket switch. You could turn it into a face. You know what I mean? Make it a little goofy, like yikes or something like that, so you don't get shocked or something, and like put like a shocking face or like a little dude peeking out, or like
love that.
I don't know, like your windowsill or something. You could put like, you can go as far to getting like special types of washable paint and draw on like your window, like someone looking out the window, or a little sign or whatever. You know what I mean? Like those are, just think about what you have and be resourceful with it and do that.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. So actually, I can talk about it specifically in here. One second. Just gonna find it. I want to talk a little bit about accidents or mistakes. I don't really like to call them that. That's what like the general world would see them as. Yeah. But in this piece, I actually spilled water onto, and I was so sad. And I thought that I was like, normally with my perfectionism, I would have been like, you know, done with it. Shouldn't have done it. Impulsive. I would normally do that and throw it out. But for me, now where I'm at in my journey is like I'm able to. Now I gotta find this freaking image again. So there we go. So nowadays, what I would do is if I spilled water and the ink would bleed, I would. Now it's like I let it dry and I'm like, oh, that looks so cool. Like it actually like works with the image, and like it even bled through on the different pages, and I would like outline it, or say for example if I really didn't like this after the spill, I would like paste something on top of it to just cover it up. And that helps me because I'm able to be like, well, nothing's a mistake, nothing's an accident. You just kind of like, you work with it. It teaches you to have patience. It teaches you to let go. It teaches you that it's okay to fuck up. It's okay to make a mistake. We're human. We're not perfect. We're gonna do stuff like this. And I'm really spilly, so I knew that this is like something that's bound to happen. And I think that there's an acceptance in that for not only my art, but myself as well. Yeah. Oh, so one of the things that I like to do with my art journaling is start like a background or something and then come back to it later. So for example, this was leftover paint on my palette, and I just covered the page. I'm gonna come back to this at some point and add to it. I might add like a poem or like collage or something like that. It's about just starting something, and even if you like, if I started something drawing on this, I could leave it and then come back to it and add more, or like just leave it like this too. Like that's okay too, you know.
I would have to say, roll with being nervous. Accept that. Think about what you like to do, being whatever that medium is.
Yeah.
If you like to draw, kind of play off your strength. You know what I mean? And just roll with that. So if you're good at drawing, draw. If you're good at music, do music. If you're not good at any of that, try it all.
Try, yeah.
You never know.
The first thing I think about is get that name, that word artist out of your head, right?
Yeah,
like it's
for
like,
sure.
because like, well, not get it out of your head, but like just think about it differently. Like an art maker, a creative person, like
Just get the labels
just
out
get
of
the
your head.
labels, yeah, because it's like you just do what you know you need to do, and that even if you're not good at it, you try. Like what you're saying is just like try something. If you like it, keep with it. If you don't like it, try something new, try something different. If you're not sure how to do something, ask somebody that you might know. Like one of my favorite things in the whole world is supporting other people to find their passions and to continue to feed what they love to do, so that they can, you know, do their thing and soar. And like, I think if you have questions, like we're here, like I can support you, and I can, if you need to know how to do something, I might know how to do it. If I don't know how to do it, I can find somebody that does, right? There's always somebody that can help us to keep practicing and learning, and it's literally about learning and practicing, I think. Thank you so much for listening today and hearing us share our stories, and pterodactyl. Yeah, y'all won't go for being here, and you can find us online on Instagram only. I don't have any other social media right now, and I'm loving it. Monique.aura is my handle.
Chimi Gwetch for tuning in today. I hope you guys enjoyed what we provided for y'all. Hope you guys are all staying safe out there. Just know that we really enjoyed speaking to everyone out there, and just hope that even if you don't take something away from this, that you made it to the ending of this. You know what I mean? So that says something.
Yeah.
And just know that it's always all right to reach out to people, even if you think they're not a burden. And for art, just keep at it. And if you ever need help, you can always reach out to me. My Instagram is ERUESUDI. I'm private, so I may or may not accept you, depending. I'm just joking.
Hey, no, but boundaries, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
boundaries, you know. But yeah, don't be nervous. I'm glad everyone tuned in, and thank you very much.